Atheists say the God of the Bible is evil. They're not making a deep argument. They're making a category mistake. They're standing inside a worldview that does not belong to Scripture and then judging Scripture with rules that Scripture never claims. If you fix the categories, the accusations die in seconds. Atheists always make the same three errors. They assume humans own life, they assume innocence where Scripture doesn't place it, and they assume judgment is random instead of covenant legality. Once you correct those three assumptions, there's no argument left. Let's take the first one. Atheists act like humans are owners of life and God is a trespasser. They talk like he's interfering with something that belongs to us, like we're autonomous beings who gave ourselves breath and can therefore accuse him of wrongdoing when he takes it back. But in Scripture, humans don't own life. We never did. Yahuah creates life, sustains life, sets the terms for life, and ends life when its appointed cycle is complete. So if the Creator is the source, then reclaiming life is not moral evil. It's jurisdictional. A potter destroying clay is not evil. A builder demolishing a structure is not evil. The one who gave breath is not evil for taking back what he gave. You reject that premise and nothing in the Bible will ever make sense. You accept that premise and the moral confusion disappears. Second, atheists import this Western emotional idea that children are automatically innocent. Scripture does not use innocence as an age category. Innocence is a covenant category. When Yahuah judges a nation, he is not executing isolated individuals in a vacuum. He's bringing an entire culture to an end. These cultures were not ancient versions of suburban neighborhoods. They were generational death cults. Child sacrifice, necromancy, blood magic, ritual, prostitution, bestiality, trafficking, temple grape systems, murder as worship. You're not looking at kindergarten class. You're looking at a machine that produces human evil nonstop. And every child raised in a system like that is not neutral. They are inheriting gods, the rituals, the violence, the worldview, the practices. The alternative to judgment is letting that machine continue for another 500 years and destroy millions more lives. Stopping the cycle is mercy, not cruelty. Third, atheists think judgment is random. They read Exodus or Joshua and act like things happen out of nowhere. But every major judgment in Scripture is preceded by centuries of patience. Egypt didn't get judged the first time they oppressed Israel. They enslaved them 400 years, murdered Hebrew sons, doubled the labor, and rejected every warning. Pharaoh hardened his heart long before Yahuah hardened it for him. When the firstborn die in Exodus, atheists scream, God killed children. But that plague is covenant retaliation for Pharaoh killing Hebrew sons. It's measure for measure. You take life, you lose life. That isn't cruelty, that's justice. Same with Canaan. People say God wiped out the Canaanites. They don't mention the Canaanites were burning their infants alive to Moloch. They don't mention the incest temples, the grape tourism, the bestiality rites, the necromancy, the bloodletting, and the land itself vomiting out the people. That's not religion, that's a generational horror show. Every empire today would crush a nation doing that. Yet, when Yahuah does it, atheists cry foul. They don't apply their own moral standards consistently. Amalek, same thing. Amalek attacked Israel from behind, targeting the weak, the old, the children. So when Yahuah says blot out Amalek, that isn't cruelty, that's military justice. Every modern army on earth operates with that same logic. You target civilians, you get wiped out. It's not divine cruelty, it's moral consistency. The real problem isn't why Yahuah judges. The real problem is that atheists assume humanity deserves immunity from its own evil. They want moral autonomy, no consequences, no accountability, and a deity who applauds everything humans choose to do. Scripture does not present that God. Scripture presents a judge, a king, a creator with the right to set terms, a being who holds nations accountable when they cross lines that destroy human lives on a massive scale. So when an atheist says the God of the Bible is evil, you answer with this. You're assuming humans' own life, innocence is automatic, and judgment is arbitrary. Scripture assumes none of those. Fix the categories and your objection disappears. Most atheists have never heard that because the church never teaches it. They're too afraid to say the blunt thing that Scripture says clearly. Yahuah is not evil for judging. Yahuah is righteous because he judges. And every act of judgment in the Bible is the same pattern. Earned, warned, delayed, and executed only when nations cross the point of no return. That is not random cruelty. That is covenant justice. And once you see it, the atheist argument falls apart on contact.